A team of stockmen and women has rescued and relocated 23 horses trapped in floodwaters after being called to a sodden property in New South Wales. The team from Australian Outback Spectacular on the Gold Coast flew by helicopter to the property in Ballina yesterday, where they saw the horses stranded leg-deep in the water. General Manager Shane Phillips said the horses would have died if left in the floods. More thunderstorms coming for NSW after brief respite. The horses had been trapped without fresh water or food for 2 days. Australian Outback Spectacular. Stockmen and stockwomen guided the horses through neck-deep water to safety. Australian Outback Spectacular. We had been in contact with the property owner, who advised the horses had been stranded for 2 days without fresh water and access to food, so we knew we had to act quickly if we were a chance of saving them, he said. We gathered a team of 8 of our most experienced stockmen and women and our equine vet, and thanks to the help of SeaWorld helicopters, were able to travel to the location in good time and start the delicate task of walking the horses to safety. A SeaWorld helicopter transported the crew to the flooded property. Australian Outback Spectacular. Locals with jet skis and tinnies helped the crew reach the horses. Video footage shows the stockmen approaching the stranded animals, which had not moved since the floodwaters hit. "You know what, we just want to keep urgency on this the whole time," a crew member is heard saying. "We need every bridle and every holster to be used." Live updates. Fire at nuclear plant extinguished. All 23 horses were brought to safety. Australian Outback Spectacular. Horses were slowly led to higher ground. Australian Outback Spectacular. Mr. Phillips said the rescue was more difficult than initially anticipated, with some team members guiding 2 to 4 horses each through neck-deep water. With soothing words, they slowly led the horses to higher ground. "Initially we had some concerns the horses would not want to move, as they had been standing still for so long. But after an initial vet check and some medications, we were able to begin the journey," he said. Thankfully the horses were all cooperative and were just as relieved as we were to see the higher ground. The Australian Outback Spectacular team flew from the Gold Coast to the flooded Ballina region. Australian Outback Spectacular. The horses were relocated to a neighbouring property unaffected by the floods. "I'm so grateful, you have no idea," an Australian Outback Spectacular crew member said. "I thought they were all going to die." SeaWorld Helicopter's chief pilot Ash Jenkinson said he brought the crew as close as possible to the flooded paddock. "We worked closely with the Outback Spectacular team and developed a plan which would allow us to land the 2 helicopters as close to the horses as possible and give them the time and space to get the horses to a safe location," he said.